we're gonna jump to Reason, the TDE signing, young gun, West Coast.
He's actually like 30 though.
Is he really?
Yeah.
But I guess in terms of like musical output, he's had a lot
Yeah.
of mixtapes, right? But
This is a debut album
debut
right
album.
here
So.
on TDE from Reason.
And what his first project was 2 years ago.
Correct.
There you have it, 2018. Um, yeah, if you just listen to this, don't even know anything about Reason, I think pretty quickly you get that California vibe, and you kind of get the sense of who he is, and especially if you look at the guest list on here, you got Schoolboy, you got Isaiah coming in, you have JID. So there's some of those
solo.
Yeah,
got a lot of notable TDE features. You like to see that.
And I'm pretty sure you even get Kendrick popping up here for a couple of ad libs, right?
Yeah, like uncredited background vocals.
Yeah. But was this Reason album a strong album in your opinion? How were you feeling after listening to it?
Yeah, I mean, I like his performance a lot, like that kind of West Coast like rasp that he has with his delivery reminds me a lot of like Nipsey and Mozzie and stuff. And he's a pretty engaging, like competent technical rapper usually the whole time. And there's some shit that really hits here, but I don't think this really comes together as like a great like album, like in terms of like a full body of work, 14 tracks kind of thing. It was more just about moments for me with this, which I guess is a little disappointing because I do think he's pretty talented, but I think he should be able to drop something a little more cohesive next time. I don't know. It's just like he seemed to have a lot of messages and things on this album, but for whatever reason, I never really engaged with it the way I want to with a lot of other TDE albums. I think of like last time we talked about TDE was Schoolboy Q last year at Crash Talk, and I think that's an album that is okay, but didn't really hit the high standards people have for Schoolboy Q.
Yeah.
And in Reason's case, he doesn't really have any standards for himself. No one really knows who he is, even though he's older for a new rapper, or debut album anyway. And yeah, for me, it was just more about these moments. But I mean, some of these moments I think are really dope, like Pop Shit, which was one of the lead singles with Schoolboy Q. That shit's really fucking fire. That's awesome.
That was probably the top track for me. It sounds like a TDE, Schoolboy Q, even like Kendrick type sound, and I thought that song really stood out. Showstop, just the Kendrick ad libs in there really caught my ear. Obviously, anytime you're getting Kendrick on the track, you're just like, is he about to pop off? I really liked Extinct though. It was like a stripped down like Cali jazz sound near the back half of the album after Sauce. You also have JID and Isaiah Rashad on that. How did you feel about Sauce with Vince Staples? We're both big Vince Staples fans. How are you feeling about that one?
I thought it was solid. I don't think Vince jumps out as much as some of the other guys on this. Like Q makes a big impression. I thought Absol on Flick It Up really good. I mean, just great to hear from Absol in general. He's not very active, but and Isaiah, another guy, not very active. I thought he was good on Extinct. Vince was solid on this, kind of like he was solid on Amine, Pressure on My Palms, But yeah, I mean, and Rhapsody has such a high floor as a lyricist that she made a big impression too. But yeah, I mean, Vince is probably one of my least favorite features on this. He's all right.
Yeah, I was actually pretty disappointed with it. I felt like it was just kind of nothing to write home about from Vince. And like you said, I think Rhapsody is probably my next favorite feature on this. I thought she was great. Just overall, it's funny. I think I liked the features in those moments more than I liked really anything from Reason, which I don't know how good of a sign that is for him on this.
No, I don't think it is a good one. There's a bit of a social media backlash, I guess you could say, following the song Fall, where Reason name drops Mac Miller. And I think a lot of people were just, denigrating that idea as kind of being in poor taste. But if you listen to what Reason's saying, he's talking about how, like, the industry kind of sets you up with these deals and surrounds you with yes men, and then you might OD and die like Mac Miller. And it's like, honestly, I thought what he was trying to say was actually pretty on point, but then to throw something so like distracting, almost like shock value by name dropping someone beloved, someone who's dead, it's like I think it takes away from what you're actually trying to say. It's just kind of like I think a kind of amateur way to go about something like that, you know. Also,
Yeah.
it's not the best read I think on Mac Miller's career. Like, I mean, no one
No.
anything bad to say about him and how he handled his affairs when he died. So it's like the whole like yes men thing, the labels control you. I don't think that really applied to Mac anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny to think about this because Reason only a few weeks ago dropped this song called The Soul Part 2, which did not make this album. And on that song, he sent some very pointed disses at Logic for like stealing the culture and stuff. And that song did not make this. Logic, when asked, commented he did not know who Reason was,
Hmm.
which is about as disrespectful as it gets. Um, and some people were theorizing that perhaps he was kind of protecting Kendrick. Kendrick and Logic have had like dark, like Cold War beef in the past due to Logic's, sonic inspirations from his peers. But yeah, I think something like the Mac Miller moment, and even something like this Logic moment, which people also weren't even that big a fan of, that kind of stuff shows that you kind of sometimes have a lot more work to do, and like TDE, they have a really good batting average when it comes to signing people, you know,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean everyone's a finished product. Even something like Reason, who has a lot of tapes out already.
Yeah. It's interesting though because if they kind of knew that or if they could tell that maybe Reason wasn't going to be, really hitting with this album, if it wasn't going to be talked about much, a couple of controversial moments is a good way to at least get people, speaking
Yeah,
Reason's
it's a
name.
good point.
So
Yeah,
it's something. Although I don't know if coming at Mac is necessarily the
right.
way to do it, but
So I got a question
or
for you though.
worse ways. Sure.
On TDE, all their big hitters, with the exception of Schoolboy, have not dropped in a long time. Over 3 years since Kendrick and SZA,
Mhm.
over 4 years since Isaiah Rashad, almost 4 years for Absol as well. Who are you most anticipating? Got that SZA single recently hit different. Rumors are Kendrick may have been shooting something recently out in public.
Mm-hmm.
Something's coming from Kendrick and SZA at some point. But yeah, where were you at with those guys?
Yeah, I mean Kendrick is the obvious number one. It, Kendrick is literally a top three artist in the world, in my opinion.
And he just goes away. He doesn't even have to maintain his
Yeah,
status.
it's crazy. But SZA, I thought we even had like a date, don't we? I thought no.
No, no date. She's also kind of expressed some open contempt for how like Punch and everyone at TD's been handling her
Hmm.
stuff lately. So it doesn't seem like they're on the same page with that, which is unfortunate, obviously.
Yeah, I mean SZA would be my number two. But I would really like to hear another album from Schoolboy. The last one was a little disappointing, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously most of the stuff he puts out is just bangers and
Yeah,
really interesting music. SZA is interesting, but I also feel like that sphere is very like packed right now. Like
it is.
you
Mm-hmm.
even tweeted today about LMI and how we're kind of waiting for that like second album drop, and I'm sure we'll be
Mm-hmm.
getting a second album from her in the near future. But when I think of SZA, there's so many contemporaries that go along with her, and while certainly she's probably at the top of that range, I guess I just prefer to hear the strong hip hop over the R&B. So kind of where I. What about you though?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not the biggest Isaiah guy. A lot of people really ride for his music. He hasn't put out a whole lot either. And then Absol just kind of feels like someone who's like half retired at this point because I know he
Yeah.
has medical issues and stuff. But he's always been a really strong artist when he drops. It's just pretty infrequent. So who knows? But it's
Mhm.
kind of it's interesting too. Like when Kendrick last toured, Q, Soul, J Rock, who I didn't mention there, and
Mhm.
SZA, they were all on tour with him too. Like it's kind of this well-oiled machine how they do it
Yeah.
there. And Absol will go on tour even if he doesn't have any new music. So I think they're all fine. But hopefully we get something from one of them by the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully. If I had to put my money, I'm guessing SZA by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Kendrick maybe early next year would be my bet, but we'll see. The surprise drop is always a possibility.